Alrighty, welcome back to my study hall on drop spindling for Hogwarts at Ravelry. Today is going to be a real short, brief little message about pre-drafting. If you look at the rest of the thread that this video is posted in, you'll see that I included a couple of videos, one from Paradise Fibers and one from another lady who I cannot think of what her name is right now, but they are in the same post as this video. So I think what you're gonna want to do, in my humble opinion, is start with Park and Draft, and both of those videos that I included in the post give the best directions, far better than I could do. So I would really suggest that you give Park and Draft a try. I'm going to talk about pre-drafting, and then what I would suggest is watch those other two videos and see what they have to say about Park and Draft. If Park and Draft does not work for you, forget about it. Just move on into spinning. What I found for my brain, and I've heard other people say the same thing, is that breaking down the steps of spinning into parking and drafting slows it down so that you can kind of build the muscle memory a little bit more smoothly. But I have another friend who said Park and Draft just totally blew her mind and it didn't work for her at all. So again, what I want you to take away from this study hall is that you need to find what works best for you, and you need to make the yarn that works for you, that you like making, and don't let other people try to tell you that you somehow did it wrong. If you find that you're doing something that you don't like the results, then yeah, let's revisit it. Let's, post your questions and let's talk about what you're doing that we might be able to tweak for you. But again, I'm not the spinning police. I don't ever want to be the spinning police. So today I'm just going to talk to you about pre-drafting. Now, I've joked before about how it would be really funny to walk into a room of 30 spinners and yell, "I love to pre-draft," and just see the chaos that would ensue. Because pre-drafting is one of those things that people feel very strongly about. I think a lot of people feel very strongly about it, one way or the other. And what I find really amusing is that the people who are totally opposed to pre-drafting, they're talking about something entirely different from what a lot of pre-drafters are talking about. Okay, and let me explain. Pre-drafting is where you take a bunch of fiber and you, instead of just taking an end of it and spinning directly from that onto your spindle or your wheel, it means you're doing something with the fiber to prepare it, to get it ready for spinning. Okay? Some folks are just determined you do not pre-draft. Now, if I were to take this and I were to start spinning directly from it, I would be fighting with the fiber, okay? Like I said in my last video, fiber, when it's been dyed and when it's been stored in a braid and in a nice little baggie to keep it safe from moths and all that stuff, the fibers can't help but compact on each other. And if it's a grippy fiber like BFL or Falkland or Shetland, the ones that I love so much, the fibers are gonna, I don't want to say they're gonna felt, because they're not felting, they're just compacting and constricting on each other. That's nothing that can't be fixed with a little bit of pre-drafting. So say I were to spin this and I wanted to spin something thinner, like, hopefully you can see that, something like that from that without pre-drafting, I would be fighting the fiber the entire time. It would hurt my hands would cramp up, it wouldn't be any fun at all. So when I talk about pre-drafting, what I'm saying is taking that chunk of fiber, and I showed you this the other day on that one video, taking it in strips and separating it out even thinner until it's closer to the diameter that I want my finished singles to be. I would never, ever, 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 ever pre-draft to the point that I don't have to do any drafting in my spinning. And that is kind of the crux of this whole pro pre-drafting, anti pre-drafting argument, is that a lot of times the argument is that you shouldn't pre-draft, but what they're saying is you shouldn't pre-draft to the point that you don't have to do any drafting at all when you're spinning. The reason this is important, this distinction is important, is because when you are drafting in your spinning, and drafting is pulling the fibers out and prepping them as you're holding them so that the twist can enter into the fiber, not the fiber supply, but the twist can enter in to what you're allowing it to enter into. The idea is that you've got to do some of that drafting as you're spinning. Because if I were to decide I want to spin something, again, I'll show you, this thin, and then I were to try to pre-draft that all the way down and pull it out and pull it out and stretch it out and stretch it out until it was super, super, super skinny. See, I can't even do that without getting so many little thin spots that if I were to try to spin this now without doing any other drafting, chances are it would just snap and fall apart. Okay, so let me explain. I'm going to read something to you, okay? I just got this issue of Spin-Off in the mail, and I cannot believe the timing of this. Sometimes the universe is just working right, and this came in at just the right time. This is the summer 2015 issue, and there are 2 articles in here about pre-drafting. And one of them says, one of them is pre-drafting wicked, and the other one is top 10 reasons to pre-draft. And both of these authors say, you know what, there's a time and a place for pre-drafting. Sorry, let me find just the right one. Okay, this is what I want to read to you. Okay, and I'm not going to read the whole article because that would be silly. I want you to go buy this and have a copy of your own. In the mystery, history, and lore of spinning, pre-drafting has become a thing of shame, a word preceded by don't. Pre-drafting in the world of spinning has been defined as anything done to fibers that shifts or alters the fiber alignment in a fiber supply. Pre-drafting includes stripping fiber vertically, which is what I showed you, where I'm tearing off the vertical chunks, fluffing horizontally, where you can take it and you can fluff it up like that and get all the fibers loose in there, chunking into smaller pieces, attenuating, pretty much anything beyond a good shake. I spin mostly commercial top and roving, and I pre-draft a lot. I like to think of it as preparing my fiber to spin, nothing naughty or nefarious. There is, and this is important, this is the key, all right? There is one pre-drafting technique that I never do. Strip my fiber to the size of the finished yarn. Nope, never. I still need to draft the fiber while I spin to create the best yarn I can make. Okay, so again, Spin-Off, summer 2015, pick yourself up a copy. There's some really great, there's an article in here too. Oh, here it is. If Only I Had Known, Words of Wisdom. This is geared, it's like a love letter to new spinners. And this lady wrote it, you know, what advice would I give to myself if I could go back and give myself advice as a new spinner? And then she asked a lot of other people to chime in on that as well. So this is an outstanding issue. Okay, I want you to watch the videos on pre-drafting that I included in the thread. I want you to remember that when I'm saying pre-drafting, I am not saying I want my yarn to be this diameter, so I'm going to pre-draft all the way to that diameter so that I don't have to do any drafting at all. That is not what I'm saying. When I'm saying pre-drafting, I'm saying this looks like it's about ready to spin. I can fluff it up a little bit. I can even stretch out some of these. There's some spots here where, you know, maybe a little bit of extra dye, or maybe just how it was braided, it compacted a little bit more. I can stretch this out just a bit. Move along, stretch it out a little tiny bit more, stretch it out a little bit more, stretch it out a little bit more, and your fingers will get used to doing this. Your hands will, and your fingers will start to be able to tell, have I drafted a little too much there? No, I think it feels pretty good. Now look at the dimension of this. If I were going to spin this, somebody might say, oh my gosh, you're going to spin bulky, right? Nope. This is as far down as I would draft in order to spin something that is this diameter. Okay? Because again, and I cannot reiterate this enough, it is so important to draft while you're spinning. You cannot do all of your drafting in advance. Okay, I think I've babbled on about this enough. Hopefully you get my point. Please do watch those videos that I put in the post and let me know if you have any questions. And I will be back once our new year 2 rotation 1 starts. I will be back to post my spinning, plying, and finishing videos as well. All right, thank you very much. Thank you to my camera girl. Thanks, Elise.